Now, I wanted to give you a little vlog on my trip because we did have some time to kill and we saw some other things while we were down in Florida. And I want to begin with a positive shout out to Southwest because they have, without question, the most flexible means of booking travel in the United States at the moment. You don't have to pay for a flight change. And I changed my flight 4 different times, including the airport I left from. The only thing you might have to pay is a difference in fare. But on a few occasions, as I was changing my flight around, I actually picked up a couple of bucks because the new fare was cheaper than the fare I had originally. So if you are looking to chase rockets or chase something else that is not all that predictable from a travel standpoint, Southwest is the way to go. You will not pay any penalties for last-minute travel changes, and they give you 2 checked bags for free as well. So it's a very good airline for this kind of activity, and I try to fly them for these types of trips as much as I can, given that flexibility. Good stuff from Southwest. They didn't sponsor that, by the way. I'm just very happy with them. Maybe I'll reach out to them and see if they'll sponsor future space missions. That might make it a little bit more affordable for me. So we did look at the NASA Visitor Center, which is not far from the Kennedy Space Center, and they've done a lot of great work here, including adding this new Atlantis exhibit. And when you walk in, you get a sense of the scale of the space shuttle program. This is a scale model of the booster and fuel tank, so you get to see exactly how big this thing was when you're walking in. And then inside is Space Shuttle Atlantis, and they configured this building in such a way that you can get really close to it and see all the detail that you never saw on television before, including some of these white areas on the shuttle that are not tiles, but actually kind of a thermal blanket, if you will. It's almost like a fabric-looking material, and you can just get very good close-up views of the entire shuttle, both the interior of the cargo bay here, as you can see, but also the bottom with the tiles and everything. It's just a tremendous way to display the space shuttle. I think it's probably the best display of the 3 that you can visit. So if you're ever in the Orlando area, this exhibit alone, I thought, was definitely worth the time to check it out. Again, you get some really good views of everything, and they have a nice exhibit around it as well of all the different things that they did with the space shuttle. And what I really liked about the exhibit is that you didn't just rush in and see the space shuttle on display there. They make you watch a movie to learn about what you're about to see. They had a dramatization of the space shuttle design process, which was a little over-dramatized in my opinion, but it was still good information. And they also, of course, talked about the things that the space shuttle accomplished, namely building the International Space Station and teaching humanity about all the challenges of living and working in space. And there was a lot accomplished, even though the space shuttle did not fly that far. It did give us a lot of insight as to how I think the next decade and centuries will commence here as we start getting ready to live and work on the moon and in Mars too. So it was definitely something I would check out. You'll spend a lot of time in this exhibit. They have a memorial section where they have some debris from the Challenger and Columbia and a lot of personal effects of the astronauts who lost their lives there. There's a lot of other portions of this Atlantis exhibit too. You'll definitely spend a good hour or more just looking around this part of the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Center. And of course, there's a lot more to see there, including some of the bus tours that will take you around the launch facilities. So definitely check it out. The tickets cost less than what you might pay at Disney or Universal Studios, and I think you'll get a good full day out of your visit to the Visitor Center. It wasn't always the case, but I think this Atlantis exhibit will certainly take up an hour or 2. There's a lot to see and do inside of that building, and I spent a good amount of time just walking around the shuttle and getting a nice close-up look at all the different parts of it, and I really enjoyed that part of the tour. Now, this was something that interested me, though, when I walked into the gift shop. Front and center was SpaceX merchandise. You would expect to see this place full of NASA stuff, which it was, but they gave a real prime spot to this SpaceX gear. Now, it's possible SpaceX might be paying for this preferable retail placement, but I think there's probably more going on here. I think there is a tremendous consumer interest in Elon Musk and SpaceX and everything else, and if that wasn't the case, you wouldn't see this stuff, I think, so prominently displayed inside of the flagship space store at the NASA Visitor Center. So this was interesting to me, especially given that we don't see gear for Boeing or the United Launch Alliance, who are competing against SpaceX and will be launching similar commercial missions to the space station very soon. In fact, there are other providers already doing that to the space station, including one that I believe is launching later today or tomorrow. So just interesting just to see how things are developing here. But don't worry, there's still a lot of NASA-branded stuff in the store. But again, really odd to see SpaceX front and center when you walk in.
This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold-level supporters, the Four Guys with Quarters podcast, Tom Albrecht, and Kalyan Kumar. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to lon.tv/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit lon.tv/s.